So very good morning. So all is good. So let me introduce you. So you must have heard the name of this new entity as well. So I'm part of the Finance Faculty's division and I'm teaching here right from the institute. So what all areas I take. So this one is ancient and medieval and one is agriculture. Some other areas are also there, but these two are the domain of one. So today, generally what happens is in many classes people say that start with agriculture. So I start with agriculture. And in other classes people say that start with ancient medieval. So I start with ancient medieval. But this time I have thought that I will go with the ancient and medieval. And then once we are complete with the ancient and medieval, so then we'll move to the agriculture. But before that, I just want to make a claim regarding this year's paper. So how many of you have seen the paper this year's paper? Most of you. Okay. How many questions were there from the ancient and medieval agriculture? Have you calculated? How many? No, ancient medieval plus agriculture. 11 questions were there. 11 questions were there. And mark my words, 9 of them were there in the notes of class notes, not just in your printed material, it was there in the class notes. Right? So this is the efficacy of our classes. And then you can rely on the same. Earlier people were asking me that sir, इतना पढ़ लूँ तो enough हो जाएगा क्या? It was कुछ भी enough नहीं होता है UPSC में, ठीक है? I can't make a claim that the 100% question can come from here, but you will be in comfort zone after doing these classes. Right? So once the classes are going on, you will recognize that what all things were there from the classes. Right? So let's start with the thing. So today I start with the ancient and medieval. So it's one section which people are very fearful, and then also agriculture is also one section which people are fearful. But believe my words that once you are done with the classes, you will be very comfortable and you will enjoy the classes. Right? Then first I will make a trend analysis, and then I will move to the other parts. So let's see that over the year, how many questions were asked from these all areas. Right? And there is one belief that ancient and medieval is only there in the syllabus of the prelims. But over the period, what we have seen in the mains paper, that there is regularly a one question from the ancient and medieval in the mains paper. So art and culture, ancient medieval is very fairly is overlapping. And at the name of art and culture, they are giving one question, at least one question in the mains paper. So you cannot skip this section for the mains preparation, though it is not specifically mentioned in the mains syllabus. But what I suggest you that don't go through any book, just revise your class books when the mains is there. And for prelims, I will take some books, but not now after this class is done. Right? So trend analysis. And today I do the trend analysis only related to the ancient medieval also and agriculture also. How many questions were there? So, any idea that when did this pattern of exam started? That CSAT pattern with the GS 2000? It is 2011. Right? So, it all started from 2011 and main syllabus was changed in 2013. So, 2011 was the year when two papers were introduced in the prelims examination, that is the GS paper and the CSAT paper. Earlier, there was an optional objective paper and the GS paper. Right? And from here onwards, the prelim examination that you give today was started. 2013 से mains the changes. 4 paper introduced with it and one optional was removed. Right? So 2011, overall, ancient and medieval and plus this particular art and culture. So total 8 questions were there from this section. Then 2012, 7 questions were there. 2013, 9 questions were there. 2014, total. Any idea ancient medieval, and then 2016, again, it was 7 questions. 2018. So last year paper, any idea that how many questions were there? Any idea? Have you seen that paper? No. So 8 questions. And this year, 2019, already it is there, 11 questions. So near about 7 to 8 questions you can expect from this section. In the prelims examination. Let's talk about the mains. So what was there in the mains? So this is for the prelims examination, and in mains paper. So mains here, reckoning would be from the 2013, because this was the year when new syllabus was introduced. So in the very first year, in the paper 1, 3 questions were there. In the mains paper, 3 questions were there from the art and culture. Art and culture is specifically mentioned, and this was 30 marks question. 2014, 3 questions, again 3 questions were there, and that was 12.5 marks per question. Then 2015, so 2015, 2 questions were there, 25 marks. Then 2016, here again 2 questions were there, 25 marks. 3 questions, 30 marks, and 19. So this is how it was there. So in mains paper, at least you can expect 2 questions from the art and culture. So this is how the trend was there in the previous year. Now, we'll be starting ancient and medieval, but one of the things associated with the ancient and medieval that people are often confused between the dynasties. This kind of thing. So for that purpose, we have curated a list. First, I'll tell you the timeline. Timeline in a very proper manner. Whenever you are in a confusion, then who came first and who was later. So you get back to the classification and timeline that will help you along. So this kind of timelines are given in the books. I have gone through a lot of books which are there in the market. But I have brought forward one book which is very simplified in the timeline. So it's a simplified thing. So let's start with the timelines. So timeline of the ancient and medieval. So timeline, see, medieval is a little bit very straightforward. It's very straightforward. I know you'll be seeing the timeline of the medieval, which is very straightforward. Ancient is a little bit complicated. So we see in that manner that at one point of time there were so many rulers. So we see the contemporary way that at one end, who is the major ruler, and then the other, who are the contemporaries of that ruler. So when we talk about the timeline, so from where we start? Do you have any idea from where we start? That history comes in everything. Indus Valley. So we generally start with the Indus Valley. But there is a history before that also. Prehistory. So before writing that, I'll tell you that there are 3 types of history. One is prehistory. Next is proto-history. And then comes the history. So can you guess then what is the major difference between these all, or what is prehistory? Can you guess? What is that? Stone Age. Very good. Exactly. And we can say that it is a Stone Age. The definition we will have to see. What is the definition of that? But you are quite close to that. example would be the Stone Age. Stone Age में लोग बोलते तो थे, but कोई evidence नहीं था. Then come to the proto history. What would we have? How would we have? Yes, exactly. This is the proto history. So written evidence is there. Written evidence is there, but we are not able to decipher it. We are not able to decipher it. हम अभी पढ़ नहीं पाए उसको, ठीक है? So evidence तो है, but we are not able to decipher it. That is the proto history, and history is before. Written भी है, आप समझ भी रहे हो, and then everything is clear. So that is the history. Then is that written evidence and plus we are very well able to understand it. Then, so that is the history. So these are the three histories. So can you tell me the example of the proto history? Somebody said from this side, Indus Valley civilization. Because written evidence is there, but we are not able to decipher it. And whatever information we have right now regarding the Indus Valley civilization, that's related to their artifacts that they have used and their time. With that, we infer some information, but not from the written information. So, this is what the three types of the history. Then, so as I have written, prehistory. So, prehistory would be the start of the timeline. So, and if we write in prehistory, so here you write prehistory. Prehistory, and we are writing this timeline from the perspective of the Indian history, and not from the world history. Agar जो world history के perspective से prehistory यहाँ लिख रहा हो, so then I will write 10 lakh BC. But from Indian history perspective, it is 5 lakh BC. So it's starting from the 5 lakh BC, and then it was there till 6,000. K I'm using, K means 1,000. So 6,000 BC. Then there was further subdivision in the prehistory. Further subdivision in the prehistory, it is subdivided into three phases. And the very first phase is known as Paleolithic phase. Paleolithic phase. Then the second one was Mesolithic phase. Third one is Neolithic phase. So I write the timeline also, like what is that, what period. So Paleolithic was there from 5 lakh BC to 50,000 BC. Sorry, this is 10,000. You mark it 10,000 BC. Then this one, 10,000 BC to 6,000 BC. And Neolithic from 6,000 to 3,000 BC. Yeah. So these three lithic phases were there. We'll explain what is lithic and what all things were there in these phases. But first we need to write the timeline. Then, इसके बाद देखो तब Neolithic came to an end. And after that, slowly an urbanization, a kind of civilization started to develop in India. And that civilization is the Indus Valley civilization. And so Indus Valley civilization appeared after this one. So Indus Valley civilization. And the period exactly which is attributed to Indus Valley is 2600 BC. And by 1800 BC, it completely disappeared from India. So this is the broad phase, the 2600 to 1800 BC. Then, after 1800 BC to 1500 BC, already existing one culture was there. And when the Indus Valley civilization came to it, so that culture became dominant. Here, not seeing culture appeared, that culture became dominant. Already it was there in the other parts of the country. Listen this carefully. That can you guess that what is that important event that happened in India? What is that? Exactly, very good. So Aryan invasion. Right? So Aryans came to India and they invaded and slowly they kind of established their rule in India. So advent of Aryan is the next part in the timeline. Advent of Aryans. I will explain that who are these Aryans. But later, so in 1500 BC, they started to arrive in India. Advent of Aryans, these Aryans started to come to India. After their arrival, the period which was there, the period which got started in India, and that period was known as the Vedic period. And so, Vedic period also, Vedic period, it began in 1500 BC and it was there till 600 BC. There is a further subdivision of the Vedic period. One is the early Vedic period. Early Vedic period. And this period was there from the 1500 BC to 1000 BC. Then, later Vedic period. Later Vedic period. 1000 BC to 600 BC. So, this was the advent of Aryans. But in the 6th century BC, when I say 6th century BC, it means that 500 to 600 BC. Okay? So, 6th century BC, there was one major event, not one, but many things were there in the 6th century BC. Many things happened in the 6th century BC. So, one such important thing was that rise of the religious movement. So, rise of the religious movement. And there were two religions which actually got formalized and consolidated in this period, and they were the Buddhism and Jainism. So, you write that rise of religious movement. Rise of religious movement in 6th century BC. 6th century BC. And these religions were majorly Buddhism and Jainism. Generally, we write Buddhism and Jainism because they were very important. But some other movements were also there. For example, Ajivikas were there. I mentioned about them in the philosophy, in the art and culture. About Ajivikas. Then, rise of religious movement in the 6th century BC. This is one thing. The second thing which happened in the 6th century BC itself was that not only these religions appeared in India, but also 16 Mahajanpads appeared in India. Okay? So, rise of 16 Mahajanpads. Rise of 16 Mahajanpads. Mahajanpadas in 6th century BC. Rise of 16 Mahajanpads. I explained what is the meaning of the Mahajanpad when we did it in that place. So, from here onwards, the very formal history starts. And that's that. And with different ruling dynasties. So, basically, when we talk about the Mahajanpads, 16 Mahajanpads, so 16 centers were there in Indian subcontinent, not just in India, Indian subcontinent, which includes the Pakistan also, and then the eastern part also. So, there was one Mahajanpad which slowly became very powerful, and slowly, one by one, it annexed all the other Mahajanpads. So, can you tell me the name of that Mahajanpad which slowly became Magad? Yeah? So, from here onwards, we'll read the history of the Magad. Yeah? So, one of the Mahajanpad, that is the Magad. Magad. Yeah? And so, when we talk about the Magad Mahajanpad, so we need to see that who were the people who actually kind of ruled in the Magad Mahajanpad. So, again, now the question comes that who was the first ruling dynasty? What was the name of the first ruling dynasty of the? Which one? These were. These. Haryanka. Mr. Rulers, I'm telling you here, but you read it in elaborate manner. The founder was the Bimbisar, and then his son was the Ajatashatru. They were the two important rulers. And we'll talk about the other people also. So the first ruling dynasty of the mother was the Haryanka dynasty, whose founder was the Bimbisar. So Haryanka was the first. Then the second ruling dynasty was the Shishunag. Shishunag dynasty. 413 BC. Shishunag dynasty was there in the 413 BC. Then after Shishunag, next one was that. How was the Nanda? Third was the Nanda. So Nanda dynasty, 344 BC. 344 BC. So these were the people who were initially, but now the arrival of the very strong dynasty would be there, and that will change the history of India. And all of India would be under their control. So that is the Mauryas. So Mauryas would be there in 321. Maurya dynasty. And here we will talk about the Chandragupta Maurya. He is a Gupta ruler. Chandragupta Maurya, then his son Bindusar, and then Ashoka. So these are the three important rulers. Then after Maurya dynasty, now listen, that as I said, that when Mauryas were ruling in India, so basically all of India was there under their control. And I mean to say that all of India here means that Pakistan also, because that was part of India. So it was under this Maurya dynasty. But after the death of Ashoka, now you listen carefully. Ashoka died in 232 BC. And after his death, what happened? That slowly that weak rulers were there, and they were not able to defend the Mauryas. And there was a factionalism in the court itself. And what happened is one fine day in 185 BC, the last ruler of the Maurya, his name was Udayadra, he was killed by his own minister, Brahmin minister, Pushyamitra Shunga. So Pushyamitra Shunga was not happy with the affairs of the Mauryas, and they were Buddhist and they were patronizing so many things. So Pushyamitra Shunga killed his own king, and then he established Shunga dynasty. But when he established Shunga dynasty, already many of the territories of the Maurya were in the hands of the other. So basically what I mean to say that after the end of the Mauryas, India got divided into so many factions, and so many people appeared in the scene of the Indian history. So since there was not just one central authority in the after the Maurya, so that period is called as the post-Maurya period. And post-Maurya period में बहुत लोग आए, ठीक है? So what is that? That few people came from outside India, like the farmers, ठीक है? So Central Asians came to India, Indo-Greeks came to India. So many people came to India, and they established their own rule in India. And there were some dynasties in India which were of the Indian origin only, or you can say the indigenous dynasty. So one indigenous dynasty was the one, Shunga, then Kanva, then Satavahana. So there were so many people in the post-Maurya period. So from here onwards, we write that Magar Mahajan ka dekha tha. Now we write post-Maurya period. So you write in the timeline. Post-Maurya period. And what reason I have given? No central authority in India. Central authority means एक आदमी पूरा India rule नहीं कर रहा है. There are so many people there. So, but here what I need to do that I have written post-Maurya period, but I will divide it into the two parts. In the timeline, I'm dividing it into the two parts. And here I'm writing outsiders, means that the rulers who came from outside India. And then here I'm writing indigenous rulers, means that those who were the Indian origin rulers. So indigenous rulers, outsiders and indigenous rulers. So first let's complete the outsiders. So the first outsider who came to India, and here I'm talking about the dynasty, not the name of the ruler. So filled in 165 BC. Then after Indo-Greeks, the next were any idea that who were there? After Indo-Greeks, Sakas. And Sakas, their arrival was felt in 90 BC. Then Parthians. And Parthians first came in. So here you need to feel the change or see the change that is AD. So now I'm moving to the BC down here in this AD. Shaka. Here you can keep understood this. Sakas, then Parthians. In 25 AD they came to India, and that was the period. 25 AD is the period when Jesus Christ was alive. This is the period of the Christ. Then the last one in outsiders and the most important was Kushanas. And Kushanas came to India. Their arrival was first 1565 AD. I hope you understand the difference between the AD and BC. So, just ask that if you have any confusion regarding it. So, let me ask you, then what do you mean by BC? Before Christ. That means that before the birth of the Christ. And what is that? AD? After? Yes. So, what is that full form? In the age of God, that's right. Actually, that's the meaning of that word. AD is Anno Domini. In the year of the Lord, the meaning of that. So, BC is the before Christ. Okay? AD is Anno Domini. And in the year of Lord, the meaning of the. And who is that Lord we are referring to? Christ. Yeah? So the Christ is that Lord we are referring to. And please don't get confused with that. That after the many days, I guess when I was teaching over there in the south also, way back, and then I have traveled all over India. So this is the one major confusion which I have found all over India. And students still have this confusion that Anno Domini comes after that. And then when you ask that what do you mean by that after that, so they say that when Jesus Christ died, and then that year started. Means that if Jesus Christ was alive for the 33 years, so that is year had a name already. In the year of the Lord means that AD means that the date of the day Jesus was born, that's the start of that year. Okay? That's how you are in the year of the Lord. So AD starts with the birth of the Jesus. Yeah? And before the birth of the Jesus, it is the BC. Yeah? So now you keep this in mind. Okay? So these were the four outsiders who were there in India at that point of time, in the post-Maurya period. अब मुझसे पूछोगे कि post-Maurya period roughly कितने period के बीच में रखे? Okay? So here I can write that post-Maurya period I will keep it from 185 BC to near about 300 AD. Roughly it will be this pura post-Maurya. Now come to the indigenous rulers. So who were the indigenous rulers in this period? Indigenous rulers means that India origin people. So the first was the Sunga itself, that the one who replaced Mauryas. Sungas came to power in 185 BC. Pushyamitra Sunga was there. Maybe talking about Pushyamitra Sunga, and Bhagirath Sunga. Then, iske baad, after Sungas, the next one, the thing which was done by the Sunga, Pushyamitra Sunga killed his own ruler and then he became the ruler. The same fate was meted out in this dynasty also. Again, one of the ministers of the Sunga killed the last ruler of the Sunga and he became the ruler. And that was the Kanva dynasty. So Vasudev Kanva came to power in 75 BC. And then this dynasty, Kanva, was overthrown from the Magad, that was the Satavahan. So Satavahans, they now, अब यहाँ पे ध्यान से सुनना, then about Satavahans. Here exact date लिखा है, exact date क्यों नहीं लिखा है? Because the only source of the information about the Satmara is the Puranas. ठीक है? जो Hinduism में Purana होते हैं, there are so many Puranas, Bhagavad Purana, Vishnu Purana, Vayu Purana, so many Puranas are there. So these are the mythological texts, and they are the only source of the history of the Satmara. So that's why no exact date is there. ठीक है? So first century AD, they would authorize Egypt. So this is about the post-Maurya period. Then after the post-Maurya period, things so came out. What was the new change which is going to happen in India? So the new change which was going to happen in India is that again, after the Mauryas, again one more dynasty is going to appear which will be actually wielding power most of the parts of the India, and that would be the Guptas. So Guptas are going to appear, and they will actually rule more than 65% area of the Indian subcontinent. Only South India would be the one which would be free from the reign of the Guptas. So, next period, I'm writing Gupta period. So, Gupta period, I'm writing, but we need to see the South Indian history also. So, यहाँ पे we need to see that who were the contemporaries of the Gupta. So, South Indian rulers. दोनों चार्ट बनाना एक साथ में. South Indian rulers. Gupta period and Guptas appeared. So the kind of beginning of the Guptas was there in 230 AD. There was one person, his name was Sri Gupta. He was the founder of the Guptas, but he was not a very powerful ruler and he was not a central authority. Central rule of the Guptas began from the Chandragupta first. So here we will be writing origin in 230 AD, but formal rule 319 AD. Formal rule in 319 AD. The South Indian rulers were आगे बाद में, but first let me tell you what a little bit more about the Guptas. That Guptas में, so as somebody said that after the Chandragupta Maurya, Samudragupta was there. Samudragupta is a Gupta ruler. So whenever Maurya is added to Chandragupta, there is a Maurya dynasty. And then when only one name is there, so that is the Gupta. So Chandragupta first was the first ruler. Then second ruler was the Samudragupta. Third ruler was the Chandragupta second. Then Kumaragupta and Snapagupta. These are the five important rulers of the Guptas. We will be talking about them. All of them very elaborately. And पहले ये था, let me tell you one thing about the UPSC. That one of the very favorite topic of the UPSC is the Vijayanagar. I think it is something cultural in the ancient medieval history. So this year there was one question regarding the Vijayanagar temples, which was a very easy question. You will find it over there in the articles also. So, Kalabandam. Then it was there. Then history related question was there. Nowadays, what I'm saying, the Guptas are becoming favorite of the UPSC after the arrival of the Indian government. So, prepare the sections related and very elaborately. So, let's see. Then this is the formal rule. Then South Indian rulers. Guptas ko dekhoge, when their rule ended, so Gupta's rule ended by 550 AD. So you can see, roughly you can see that, you can say that they are the contemporary of the Guptas, that यहाँ पे 319 AD से 550 AD, and they are from the 1st century AD to 600 AD. So roughly they are the contemporary of the Guptas. Right? So now we see that after that we see that when Gupta's rule is going to get come to an end by 550 AD, so who will appear in the North India? Right? So in the North India, then for 50 years there was a vacuum, and that vacuum was filled by, there was one dynasty which appeared in the present day Haryana, and the name of the place was Dhameshwar. So there was one dynasty in the Haryana, Pushyabhuti. Okay? Pushyabhuti dynasty appeared, and the most powerful ruler of the Pushyabhuti was the Harshvardhan. Right? So this dynasty appeared by 600 AD. Right? So here you write Pushyabhuti dynasty. Pushyabhuti dynasty. It appeared in 600 AD. It appeared in 600 AD. Pushyabhuti dynasty. Then, after that, Pushyabhuti dynasty. Now, we see that what is change is going to happen over there in the South India. Now you see that out of these three, now you see carefully, that out of these three, the Chola, Chera and Pandya, one is going to disappear, or that is the Cholas. So, by 600 AD, they will disappear. Okay. By 600 AD, Cholas will disappear, and at the place of Chola, in the South India, two dynasties will appear, and these two dynasties are the Chalukyas and the Pallavas. So here would be the Pallavas. So at the place of the Chola, mainland Chola, two new dynasties will appear. So I'll write at the separate this one. So here, two new dynasties will appear. One is the Pallava, and another is the Chalukya. Okay. So now here again you listen. The Chalukyas, their origin started somewhere around 510 or 512. But formally, their rule kind of the dominant phase started in the 600. So we are actually counting the dominant phase. Pallava's dominant phase also started in the 600 AD. So both of them, their dominant phase started in the 600 AD. So basically, they are the contemporary of the Pushyabhuti. And there would be a fight between Harshvardhan and one of the Chalukya rulers. We will mention in the history that Pulakeshin II and Harshvardhan. So that would be there. So these two dynasties appear. But the one thing that you need to keep in mind that though these two new dynasties have appeared in South India, Cheras and Pandyas are still there. Their dominant phase was there till 600, but they are not disappearing after the 600. They are still surviving. Now, so Pushyabhuti dynasty. So Harshvardhan actually died in 647 AD. And after his death, again, this dynasty started to disappear. And by 700, Pushyabhuti dynasty disappeared from India. So when by 700 AD, Pushyabhuti dynasty disappeared from India, so what happened? There was a vacuum in the central India, eastern India, northern India, and the western India. And this vacuum is now going to get filled by the three new dynasties in the north in the central India. And these three new dynasties will be the Rashtrakoot, the Harshvardhan, and then the Pal rulers. So these three dynasties will appear in the upper part of India by 750 AD. So after Pushyabhuti is going to come to an end, so I'm writing that all people at the place of Pushyabhuti. So first you write this one. So first you write Pratihar Gurjar. Pratihar Gurjar of West India. 750 AD. Then second was the Pal rulers of Eastern India. 750 AD. And third, Rashtrakuta. Rashtrakuta So this is how that upper part of India, and here upper part means that kind of that the Deccan also, we consider the Maharashtra also, the central, and then the whole of the west, and then the north, and then the Bihar Bengal also. So these three dynasties were there. Then 757 AD onwards they are going to rule over here, but now the change and the last thing about the ancient history, the end of the ancient timeline, that these Pallavas now, already 4 dynasties are there in South India. एक तो चेरा है, पांड्या है, and these 2 are there. Now, out of them, this dynasty is going to disappear, Pallava. And Pallava is going to disappear, and at the place of the Pallava, the mainline Chola dynasty will appear. And so, mainline Chola dynasty, mainline Chola dynasty, 900 AD. And actually, they are going to be there till the arrival of the Islamic community. And slowly, they will defeat the Chalukyas also, Cheras also, and Pandyas also. Okay? And that would be the formal end of the Cheras and the Pandyas. And Chalukyas will survive somehow, not in South India, but in Gujarat. There will be division in the Chalukyas, and they will move to the other parts of the country also. But in the South India, they are not going to survive. Only the mainland Chola dynasty will rule in the South India. So they are going to be there till the Islamic rule, and that's the end of the ancient history. So the last topic is the mainline Chola. And so now let's see the timeline of the medieval India. And medieval, as I said, that ancient में थोड़ा complication है because so many dynasties are there. But medieval is very straightforward. But I hope that this particular thing, this chart is going to help you. Okay? I have simplified it, and then more better simplification can be done on this topic. So whenever you are in a country, please get back to this classification. Now move to the medieval history. Yes, these are some. There are some theories we talk about that many people say that the old Cholas, the early Cholas, when they kind of disappeared, so they were living somewhere in the jungles, and once they found the opportunity, so they revived themselves. But there is another lot of people, they say that they are altogether different people. Yes, Pallavas actually, these mainline Cholas, they were feudatories of the Pallavas, who would become with them. And then they killed their own people, their own rulers, and then they killed them. Pure ancient history, and even till medieval also, you will see that somebody is killing their own ruler and they are coming to power. So, आजकल democratic killing होता है. Yes. This Pallava then would be there. ठीक है. जब उधर में पढ़ेंगे ना तो so clear हो जाएगा. So here. So now medieval. अभी जिस timeline से हम देख रहे हैं ना, we'll be seeing some more events. So there are some events like the Islamic invasion in India, and Islamic rulers when they first came, and then invasion. So invasion timeline I'm not writing, I'm writing only the rulers. But when we are reading the medieval histories, we will be talking about the other invasion in India, and then also the other invasions in India. Right? So let's start with the medieval history. So very straightforward manner, it can be divided into 2. And that is the Delhi Sultanate, and the second would be the Mughal. Delhi Sultanate and Mughal. So let me tell you a little bit of background. The first Islamic invasion happened in 712 AD by Muhammad ruler Muhammad bin Qasim. The second Islamic invasion started with the India, that who was that? Mahmud of Ghazni. So Mahmud of Ghazni, 17 times he attacked Indian territory, and he was there around 1000 AD. So 1000 AD he was there, and 25 years this continuously, he was attacking on India, and particularly the rich temples of India. Then, after his death, because Muhammad Ghori, who actually made a concerted effort, and then finally, due to the effort of Muhammad Ghori, the Delhi Sultanate was established. So, his campaign started somewhere around 1170. Initially, he annexed some parts in Pakistan, the present Pakistan, like the Multan Kuch area in Pakistan, then some parts of India. Then there was a battle between the Indian ruler Prithviraj Chauhan and the Muhammad Ghori. In the very first battle, Muhammad Ghori was defeated, but in the second battle of Talai in 1192, Ghori defeated Prithviraj Chauhan. Then after he sent his own trusted slave, Hudayr Ibn, to look after Indian territory. And in 1206, when Muhammad Ghori died, so out of the compulsion, this Hudayr Ibn began the formation of the Delhi Sultanate. So that's the beginning of the 1206 is considered as the beginning of the Delhi Sultanate. उसके पीछे का period it was a caretaker movement. So here I'm writing 1206 to 1526 Delhi Sultanate was there. But so many ruling dynasties were there at this point of time. So let's get back to the declassification of that. So the very first dynasty which was there, slave dynasty. And this dynasty was there from 1206 to 1230. Then the second dynasty after the slave was Khilji. 1290 to 1320. Then Tughlaq dynasty 1320 to 1415. Then Sayyid. Sayyids were there 1414 to 1451. A very short-lived dynasty, and the last of the Delhi Sultanate is the Lodi. 1451 to 1526. And these all are AD. AD I have forgiven something. So 1526 is the last of the dynasty. So 1526 what happened? The last ruler of the Lodi, Ibrahim Lodi, was defeated by what's Mosen, a very able general from Uzbekistan. Fagana Bey of Uzbekistan, and he was also the ruler of the Kabul. So the name of the person was Zahiruddin Babur. So Zahiruddin Babur defeated Ibrahim Lodi in 1526, and then he served as the Mughal ruler in India. So here, Mughal एक single dynasty. And then there are so many rulers. So I'm writing the name of the rulers. Meanwhile, what will happen? Then Caesar story will also be there. So first of all, first you write Babur. So Babur is from 1526 to 1530. Then his son, Humayun. And Humayun is from 1530 to 1540. But here, Humayun is not kind of dead in 1540. What will happen? That he is actually getting defeated by the Caesar Suri, one Afghan ruler. And Humayun will kind of that he will escape from India, he will go to Iran, he will get a refuge in Iran, and for the next 15 just 7 or 8 months he was there. And then he died. Then after his son, Akbar, 16, then his son, Jahangir, 37. And then Shahjahan, 16, 27 to 16, 58, and the last generation, Aurangzeb, 70, 7. So this is end of the Medieval. So 1707 के बाद क्या होता है? When 1707 is the beginning of the later Mughal period, which we read in the modern Indian history. So I hope that you must have started with this. So how many classes of modern has been done? 9 classes. Okay. So this part has been done later Mughal period. So okay, you are getting that the same. So this is all about the classification. Now we will start formal history. So let's get down to the course. So prehistory से start करेंगे, okay? And that is the Stone Age period. And we mean that this is one of the very boring section of the history. Bear with me for the next 1 hour, and then the history will be, after that history will be very interesting. But this Stone Age is something that ना तो सवाल आता है और ना तो याद करने का मन होता है. But still, you don't know, it's very hard. So, किसी साल मन आ गया तो उसके बाद फिर ले लिया. Take a question. And for example, that from last, I tell you, that from 2020 onwards, they are not asking questions from geography in the previous paper. Like, real questions are there. 1 or 2, if they are asking 1 or 2. But geography is a very big section. Okay? They are asking. But one day I was feeling that they would bombard with the questions of geography. But काफी लंबे टाइम से questions नहीं है. It doesn't mean that questions are not prepared and much of it. But how they are compensating that in prelims they are not asking, but in mains, near about 100 marks questions are there from the geography. Okay? So इसमें में क्या हो रहा है कि prelims में नहीं आया तो लोग थोड़ा comfortable zone में चले गए, and then they didn't prepare. So that approach must not be followed. You must prepare all the subjects. So let's start with that prehistory. But before starting, before saying anything about this prehistory, geography का कुछ भी class है? Any class? No, nothing. So when your geography classes are going to start, so basically you will start with the geological periods. There are so many geological periods like the Holocene, Paleocene, then it was so one question was there this year. What geological periods? The easier thought. There was one question in the previous paper. So you'll be starting from the geological periods. So why I'm mentioning this geological period is I want to tell you that when did the human beings appeared in on this planet Earth, in which particular geological period. So the name of the geological period is the Pleistocene epoch. Right? Pleistocene epoch is the one when the human beings appeared in the middle of the Pleistocene epoch. Human beings appeared on the planet Earth. Right? And the present phase in which we are living, so इसको भी एक नाम देते हैं, ठीक है? And that phase, the present phase in which we are, it is known as the Holocene. Right? So Holocene. So Holocene. Right? So Holocene. So basically, this prehistory that we are going to read, that is also the part of the Holocene. Right? And in the beginning of the Holocene, when human beings were kind of like the most important creature on this planet, so we need to know that how they survived, what was the source of information about these people, the prehistory people. So, what is the source of information about this prehistory people? Yes, very good. It's a first appeared on planet Earth. First appeared on planet Earth. Planet Earth. In the middle of these two seen epoch. In the middle of these two seen epoch. These two seen epoch. Then you write Mesozoic was the phase of evolution. Mesozoic was the phase of evolution. And these are the geological periods. Geography में geology पढ़ोगे and you must have not had particular NCERT for geology. उसका पहला chapter is all about the geological periods. So if you have not started, you can start with the fundamentals of physical geography. So I will tell you. Right? So these are the geological periods. Then you write the present phase of human evolution. You write the present phase of human evolution is known as Holocene. Is known as Holocene. The present phase of human evolution is known as Holocene. Change paragraph and then write that the early human history can be traced with the help of the early human history can be traced with the help of the stone tools used by them. Stone tools used by them, and also the paintings, which they created inside, the caves where they lived. Inside the caves where they lived. Right? Now begin to listen. So, this is how that we trace their history. Right? The classification which is there, listen. The classification which is there, that Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic, it is on the basis of the stone tools used by them. Right? So, on the basis of the stone tools used by them, their history was divided into three phases: Paleo, Meso, and Neo. On Paleo, with further subdivisions. Right? So, you write on the basis of stone tools used by them. The early human history can be divided into three lithic phases. And lithic का मतलब stone होता है, ठीक है? So lithic means stone. So three lithic phases can be divided into three lithic phases. Right? Lithic means stone phases. Right? Lith का मतलब होता है stone, ठीक है? LITH means stone. Right? So we'll be starting with the first lithic phase, that is the Paleolithic phase. And what we are going to see in these all phases, that the name of the tools, that what kind of, and what is the shape of the tool, and also the length. Right? So let's start with that one particular. So Paleolithic, the very first one, Paleolithic phase. So Paleolithic phase, as I said, that Paleolithic phase, the very first phase, is further subdivided into three. Okay? It is further subdivided into three, and one by one we read all the three. So you write, इसमें just आगे लिखो that it is further subdivided into three phases. So the very first one, A, you write that human Paleolithic phase. Global Paleolithic phase. And this one is from 5 lakh BC. So 5 lakh BC to 1 lakh BC. And then 5 lakh BC to 1 lakh BC, this phase was there. Then, first of all, the name of the tool and what kind of like what was the nature of the tool. So what do you say? Then, first you say that in the lower Paleolithic phase, the nature of the tool was the core tool. When I say core tool, it means that if there is a stone, so stone kind of they have taken one full piece of the stone and they have sharpened it in the sides. That is the core tool. Okay? So it means that they have taken a big piece of the stone and they have sharpened it from the sides and then they are using it. And they are not breaking it into the small parts. So in the first phase, core stone tools were used. Right? So you write in this phase, core stone tools were used. In this phase, core stone tools were used, which were irregular in shape, and quite heavy. Then irregular in shape on the right hand, because there would be the change of the shape in the further phases. And that's how you can see in the change of the technology of the hunting. So this is there. Then you write the name of the characteristic tools. Right. The name of the characteristic tools of this period was hand axes, cleavers, and choppers. Hand axes, cleavers, and choppers. Right? So hand axes, cleavers, and choppers, they were the name of the characteristic tools of this period. So if you want to see the image, so I will kind of read two images of it. Yeah? So for example, that they were in irregular shape. So one shape was like this. Okay? And these areas are the one, these dark areas are the one where kind of like they have sharpened it. Right? And this area is used. Right? So this is one, and this is actually the figure of this one. And if you want to know that how the cleavers were there, so cleavers were like this, right? Okay. So only this area was used for that. Right? So irregular shape, you can see that this is a different shape, this is a different shape. They are not the common shapes. Right? So these kind of tools were used. Right? Now, so this is there. Then we will talk combinedly about the thinking of this period overall. First we write on the tools and then I will mention about the painting of the Paleolithic phase as a whole. Right? Then second period, you write that middle Paleolithic phase. And this one is going to be there from 1 lakh BC to 50,000 BC. Middle Paleolithic, 1 lakh BC to 50,000 BC. Yeah? Then here we need to see the nature of the tool. So listen, that in the very first phase, lower Paleolithic, it was the core tool. Is that stone जैसे मिला वैसे लिया उसको sharp किया use करना start किया. Okay, that was there. But in this period, and the core stone was taken and it was divided into flakes. For example, that if this is the core stone, okay. For example, if this is the core stone, right? So if this is the core stone, so what they will do, then they will kind of create flakes from this one. Flakes means that if this is a stone in this period, the core stone was used for creating flakes. The core stone was used for creating flakes. Then, further right, they were more effective. They were more effective than Upper Paleolithic tools. Upper Paleolithic tools. Then, further right, most of the tools were rectangular in shape. अब यहाँ पे देखो पहले वाले में in the very first one you have written irregular in shape. Okay? And now, so when you are flaking it, so what happens that some rectangular surface will appear. Not exactly rectangular, but closer to the rectangular shapes will be there. So now here you can identify the shape. So here you also underline the shape that is the rectangular. That's the one change. Then you write the name of the characteristic tools. The name of the characteristic tool was. So you write scrapers, bowlers, burins, and blades. Scrapers, bowlers, burins, and blades. So this is the second phase. And they all are the part of the Paleolithic. Okay? Paleolithic means 3, and then Mesolithic would be only 1, Neolithic would be the only 1. But only subdivision is there in the Paleolithic phase. Now the last one. So last one you write Upper Paleolithic phase. Upper Paleolithic phase. So this one was from 15,000 BC to 10,000 BC. Upper Paleolithic phase. So 50,000 BC to 10,000 BC. Now, listen, that in this phase what is going to be the next stage. So now in this phase that what they are going to do, that now they will create a pointed tools. Okay? Tools which have the point. And for that what they will do, that they will change the shape of the tool. And that shape of the tool will be triangular. Right? So triangular shape tools will be there. When you are creating a triangular shape tool, so what happens, this is much more pointed than the other tools. And it will be much more effective. Like for example, that if a triangular shape tool is launched, so basically it has more piercing ability than this hard access cable towards the So pointed tools are basically triangular in shape. But they also use, this is the beginning of the start of the bone tools also. So here some instances are there where bone tools were also created. Even harpoons were also created. What is harpoon? Have you any idea? Harpoon? It's a difference for okay. Whenever you are reading something on the internet, so there are so many missiles which are categorized as the harpoons. So harpoons are the one which is used for fishing. Okay? They had fishing that how they that kind of tool is there. So they also started creating harpoons from the bones only. Okay? From the bones. So this is there. So you write that in this phase, the last one you write the Upper Paleolithic. So in this phase, pointed tools were created. Pointed tools were created, which were basically triangular in shape. Right? After full stop line, instances of bone places, harpoons were also found. Harpoons. Harpoons were also found. Now, we have done with all the Paleolithic phases, but if I ask you, it's where in India these old tools were found? Like some places, can you tell me there's some places like where these old tools and these old things were there? In MP. Okay? So, MP में कौन सा जगह जो बहुत popular है? Bhimbetka. Okay? So, Bhimbetka is the one place which is there. So, I'm giving you a list of the places where these all places kind of present. And then one very kind of broad categorization. There are two places, it will be more easier to remember. There are two places in the India where the Paleolithic tools were not there. These places are the Gangetic Plains and the Kerala. Except the Gangetic Plain and the Kerala, all of India, these tools were found. Okay? So, when the Indra is low, and then, I'll tell you some places. Yeah? So, upper Paleolithic, or you say Neolithic only. Okay? The last one. अच्छा upper लिख दिया था वो तो गलती हो गया मेरे से वो चेंज कर लो sorry and then thank you for correcting and that would be lower क्योंकि upper की तो बात ही नहीं किया upper would be the last one yes. So online people you please see that there was a mistake that we said that the tools of the middle Paleolithic will have something with the upper Paleolithic no it's the lower Paleolithic so you make a change so now, so get back to that. So first you write that all these tools of the Paleolithic phase, now you write combine them. All these tools of the Paleolithic phase were found all over India. Were found all over India except all over India except Gangetic Plains. Except Gangetic Plains and Kerala. Except Gangetic Plains and Kerala. Then, so now you write that some important sites. You write some important sites of Paleolithic phase. Some important sites. S-I-T-E-S. Sites of Paleolithic phase. So सबसे पहले तो you write about that, you write the name of the Bhimbetka itself, which is there in the Madhya Pradesh. Yeah. So Bhimbetka, and this is in MP. Then after that you write Belan Valley, and this is the area of the UP and this Madhya Pradesh. This is basically Mirzapur, you know, there is a place in Mirzapur. And there is a place in Madhya Pradesh, Rewa. The region between the Mirzapur and Rewa is the Belan Valley. Then this is in UP and MP. You write both UP and MP. Then you write this Sohan Valley. Sohan Valley is in Pakistan. Then you write Kurnool. Kurnool कहाँ पे होना चाहिए? Andhra. Then you write Brahmagiri Hills. Brahmagiri Hills, and this is in Karnataka. And so there is four places can be said as the important sites of the this particular Paleolithic phase. Now we will see the Mesolithic period, and Mesolithic period is called first I talk about the painting of the Paleolithic period. But once I'm completing the Paleolithic painting, so whenever we get there in the art and culture, after painting is separate topic. Okay? So there I'm not again the kind of talking about the Paleolithic and Mesolithic painting. I'll give a reference, and at that place only I'll discuss one question for 2015 mains paper which was related to the Mesolithic painting. So question we'll discuss over there, but here I'm completing the painting. So you like paleolithic painting. Something was in paleolithic painting. Paleolithic painting. Ratnagiri in Karnataka. So paleolithic painting. So basically, that people from the right from the beginning, right from the inception of the human evolution and the human beings of their real life, they must have some means of their own leisure and entertainment. And that entertainment basically was the painting. So where they were doing this painting kind of activity? On the walls of the caves. And these paintings were basically the scratching of the wall and then filling it with the colors. So whenever a wall of the cave is scratched for creating an image and then color is filled into that, so that kind of painting has a particular name, and that name is known as the petroglyph. So right, that paleolithic people created paintings on the walls of the cave. First off, basically, they scratched the wall of cave. Basically, they scratched the wall of cave to create images, and then it was filled with the colors. First off, then you write the name of the colors. Okay? So you write generally they used yellow, green, brown, and red colored. Naturally or from the minerals. So you write that these colors were naturally obtained. Or obtained from the minerals. So this is how it was there. Then now the most important part of the paleolithic painting that first of all we write the name is the petroglyph and then we write the theme of the painting. Okay? So you write that these type of scratch paintings on wall, the walls are known as petroglyph. And you underline petroglyph. P-E-T-R-O-G-L-Y-P-H. Petroglyph. And you underline this one. Then the next topic is the next thing in this painting is the theme. And without theme, because theme is the one from which we get the idea about the society which was there and how the people were kind of living in that particular era. So basically, the theme will tell their activities. So the theme is that, first you listen, that hunting and gathering is one of the very important themes which was there. Then animal riding was another theme which was there. Then apart from the animal riding, any other thing that you can tell about that? Like what all things were there? No, dances were not there at this point of time. लेकिन होगा अगले वाले hunting, ठीक है? Hunting and gathering तो मैंने पहले ही बोल दिया, ठीक है? 5 scenes were there, ठीक है? So you know that the major themes of this painting major themes of this painting was hunting, gathering, fighting scenes, फिर उसके बाद देखो animal riding, it means that this suggests that Paleolithic people were more concerned about their subsistence. There was no cultural activity. Here you got that they are only concerned about that. Subsistence. So what is subsistence? That they are concerned about their food. They survive. So this suggests that you're right. That these themes suggest that early humans were basically concerned about their subsistence. And so this is about this particular Paleolithic painting. So now we are done with that. Can you bring that place where the majority of the Paleolithic painting is there in India? Viveka is the one place where just kind of that, where these paintings were there. And I want to give you one more factual information about that. Then you'll be amazed that the painting in the old era, this painting is so old, but how when it was discovered in 1946 by a person, archaeologist. His name was W.S. Mohammed. So in recent years, I have seen that UPSC is asking this kind of question. Like in 2016, they asked about that. Who deciphered the Masoga scripts? James Bell script. So person-specific questions are also asked. So you can look that Bhimbetka is the most important site regarding Paleolithic painting. Then, right. For the first time, these paintings were discovered by an archaeologist, W.S. Mohammed. I'm writing here so you can see this name. W.S. Mohammed. So this is about the language. Once we are done with the Lytic phases, I will take the Lytic phases. So this was all about the Paleolithic painting. Now come to the next one, which is Mesolithic period. So Paleolithic with 10 subdivisions, and these subdivisions were the lower, middle, and the upper Paleolithic. And the Mesolithic is complete phase. There is no subdivision. So you write Mesolithic phase. This is from 10,000 BC to 6,000 BC. First of all, this phase was a transition phase. So when I say transition, it means that upper end में कुछ होना चाहिए and then was there on the transitory, the phase in which it is making the transition. So the upper phase is now that why it is called as transition phase, that most of the Paleolithic phase was identified with the many glacial ages. Many glacial ages. And what do you mean by glacial ages? Extreme cold was there. Phases of the extreme cold were there in the Paleolithic phases. And that's why humans were living inside the caves. Right? So that was the glacial period. Many glacial ages were there. And from here onwards, the earth started to become a little bit more warm. Right? So a little bit more warm. So this is the transition phase between the glacial and the warm phase. So means that then the earth will become more warmer. So it will be an ideal phase of the human population growth. And they will further venture into the other areas also. So that's how it was very important. And slowly there will be change in the many things like the technology, like the usage, subsistence, everything. So many things are going to change over here. So basically, this was the transition phase. Now, listen, that since we are talking about this phase in the terms of the lithium, so first we need to mention that what kind of tools were used at this point of time. Then we move to the other kind of things. So, any idea that what kind of tools were there at this point of time? Any idea? नहीं, copper को भी use ही नहीं होगा, ठीक है? Very small, microlith, yes, very good, exactly. So, microlith, listen, that microliths were the tools which were used at this point of time. And देखो, नाम में ही attached है micro, means that these were the very small, ठीक है? So, microliths were small and very sharp tools, okay? They were small and very sharp tools. And actually, the painting products, and in this period, the painting company, what they were doing, and they were scratching the wall with the microlith, okay? So now better paintings were there. So first you write, when the characteristic tool of this period was microlith. Which was small and sharp. And further right, it not only facilitated in and then separately you write effective killing of the animals. Ineffective एक साथ में attach करोगे तो that would be ineffective. ठीक है? So you need to write this separately. So ineffective killing of the animals, but also in creating Mesolithic paintings. Then, listen, that first of all, say they are the tool. So we need to see the shape of the tool, and what kind of shapes are there, and how they were very effective. Okay? You are asking something. They were also doing it not hand, but they were also using the tool. But tools themselves were not that very effective. They are not very sharp. अब यहाँ पे क्या होगा कि जितना sharp होगा उतना अच्छा होगा. It's all about the brush. Like when you do the painting, then the brush is very wide, so painting will not be that much. Okay? And it is very fine, so you can appreciate the painting. It's just like that. Yes. How? They must be using some kind of that. This is stone only. They can scratch it from their nails. So उसके लिए उनके ही types are चाहिए ना kind of nails. So I would be there. So where I was that now we need to see the shape of the tool over here. And it is very important. So most of the tools in this period, they were either lunate shape or they were shapes. Right? So most of the tools were lunate. Maths में नहीं बैठे हुए हैं, हम students. The shape of the tools. So basically what I wrote over here that most of the tools were lunate or plain inside. So when I talk about that most of the tools were lunate, so do you have any idea that what you mean by that? What kind of shape would be there in lunate? Any idea? Who said moon shape? You said yes, exactly. So this is the moon shape, lunate. And this word is kind of it's derived from the lunar. you launch this kind of tool, so and if it is there in a projectile path, so it will be more effective. Right? So basically, if it was launched on a projectile path, it was more effective. So that's why the Uranium tools. And what were the traits? So traits were kind of the smartest tools. Okay? So traits were kind of the smartest tools. So these kind of tools were there. Apart from that, they also created in this phase bow and arrow. So क्या बोलते हैं उसको? Bow and arrow, dhanush. Okay? So dhanush was also created. Right? So you're right that you have written that most of the tools were in the shape of Navika. Now you know that most of the tools were in the shape of unit and trade. Unit and trade. Right. Perhaps, they were made in these shapes. Perhaps they were made in these shapes, to be effective when launched on projectile path. Then there are also instances of creation of bow and arrow. There are also instances of bow and arrow. Then, next thing that you need to do is first you listen and then we'll write. So these are the things related to the tools which were there at this point of time. Now we need to see some developments. One such development in this period was that this period was the first time when the animals were domesticated. So the first evidence of the domestication of animal is found from this period, and the place from where it is found, the place is the Azamgarh, and that place is in the Madhya Pradesh. Then another place, Baghora, which is there in Rajasthan. So Azamgarh is the first place, and Baghora can be said as the second place where domestication of animal evidence has been found. So when you change the paragraph and then you write that the first evidence of domestication of animal, is found from Azamgarh in Madhya Pradesh and Baghora in Rajasthan. So why they were kind of able to domesticate the animals? Any idea? Any assumption that you can make? Five things. Now, see, the tools would be the one. Tools are very effective. They can tame the animals very easily. जब आपके पास effective tool होंगे, so you can tame the animal very easily. Like if a herd of a goat is there or sheep is there, and you just launch the tool, one of the sheep got killed. So other sheep they do have some kind of that very primitive kind of brain, but still they will identify that this is the same tool with which will get killed, and then basically they will kind of that whatever the humans will want to do with that, they will do that. So slowly, because of that, they were able to domesticate the animals because the tools were very effective. So this is how it was there. So domestication happened. Then after the domestication, the next important thing about the Mesolithic period that we need to see is that Mesolithic painting. And why we need to see? Because here there would be the start of the cultural life of this people. So we see from the themes that what kind of cultural life was there at this point of time. So we write Mesolithic painting. also petroglyph. It means that these paintings were also created on the walls of the cave and through a scratching method and filling it with the colors. So this was the method. So you're right that these were also petroglyphs. These were also petroglyphs. But more finer than the Paleolithic paintings. More finer than the Paleolithic paintings. And why this is so? Because they are using a very good tool that is the microlith. Okay? So carbon नहीं लिखेंगे. So because of the use of that tool, microlith. Okay. Now the next thing is that what colors they were using. So just like the colors which were used in the Paleolithic period, they were also used in this period. But there was one color which was very dominant, and that color was the red color. Okay? So they were very dominantly, they were using the yellow, green, brown, these all colors, but very dominantly they were using the red color. And one of the very interesting fact about this red color was that not only it was naturally obtained, but red color was also obtained from the blood of the animals. Okay? So this blood of the animal was also used for the painting. Okay? And the early humans must have realized the fact that whenever they were killing the animals, so the blood was spilled on the road or whatever place where they were killing the animals, and they must have observed that over the period the blood stains are staying there. So they must have used the blood because they wanted to increase the longevity of the painting, and that's how they started using the blood. And easily it was available because as if naturally you need to plug some flowers and these all kind of things. But you have to mara, nikal gaya, use kar liya. Okay? So that's why it was there. So you're right that they were using yellow, green, brown, and red color. Then you're right. After that, you're right. Red was the most dominant color. Red was the most dominant color. And it was obtained naturally. And also from animal blood. Then you write in the brackets that why they were using it as blood. So in brackets you write, perhaps it increased. And here it stands for the blood. Okay? So perhaps it increased the longevity of the painting. And also it was easily available. So this is there. Then come to the theme, and the themes are very interesting over here. So many themes are there. So theme of Mesolithic thinking. So I'm writing these things. There are few things which are actually repeated from the Paleolithic period. So hunting, gathering, and then fighting, seeing. These are kind of repeated, but some new themes were there. And these new themes, so first of all, celebration, group dance, then sexual union, household activity, friends, So hunting, gathering, fighting, this was also there in the Paleolithic, but these are just some new things that you can see here. The celebration, group dance, sexual union, household activity, father son, yoni, worship. You can compare on how you can analyze these whole. Just writing these themes is not enough, but analyzing these themes are also very important. So hunting, gathering, part you come to here, this part, that celebration. If I ask you, then what is the basic requirement for celebration? Happiness, enjoy happiness. Then connection. Take a connection among the people. Very good, exactly. So there must be connection. Means feel of relativity, that they can relate to each other. That's the one thing. But one most basic thing is that group of people. For celebration, you need a group of people. If you're celebrating alone, that you are on a road and you're celebrating and singing, people will say you're a partner over here. Okay? So, so group of people is the basic necessity. And then, when the group of people is there, then they can relate to each other. Okay? They have the same kind of happiness. All of them are happy with yesterday's night. Some of you were very happy. So, all of them must be happy. So, this is that this can happen when the community sense is there. So, celebration itself indicates towards the community sense was there. Then again, for the group dance, same you can say that for the group dance, the basic requirement here also the happiness and these all kind of things would be there, euphoric, happiness. But basic requirement is the group of the people for the group dance. And group dance doesn't mean like that Indian marriages that marriages में क्या होता है कि somebody is dancing in a different step, somebody has a different step. So it is a kind of that. So, but here, group dance means that there must be a synchronization. That everybody is doing the same step. That everybody is synchronized. And there is a continuity. So, synchronization itself indicates that there is a coordination among the people. That if there is no coordination, no synchronization can happen. Right? So, community sense and coordination. These two indicate towards the community sense and coordination. Does it seem some cultural? This is cultural. Dance itself is a cultural, and then this sense also indicates towards the cultural life of the people. Then come to the sexual union. So, whatever be the kind of discussion, but the most important thing for this universe to be there for a long time is the sexual union for the human beings. That if there is no sexual union, there would be no future generation. Right? So, this is one of the very important aspects of the human life, that sexual union must be there, and after that, next generation will come. So, they must have realized the importance of the sexual union, and then they created the images of the sexual union. Then, household activity. So, what do you mean by household activity? Meaning some people are cooking, okay? Some people are washing the kind of whatever that kind of utensils are there, and some people are gathering some fruits and then the fruits and then the grains. This kind of thing is there. So basically, it is division of labor, household activity, a division of labor. What do I mean by the division of labor? That if an image is created, okay, and something is getting cooked over here, somebody is cooking something over here, or kind of preparing food over here, and the kind of image which is created, if it is women, so basically it means that women were given household activity. This is the division of labor, that women will work inside the houses and men will collect the food. Okay? So household activity suggests that it suggests division of labor. Division of labor. This is not easy because इतना जल्दी jump नहीं करेंगे, ठीक है? Because we are reading the primitive things, so we will have to keep it in the primitive set of mind. Then, what is phallus and yoni worship? Any idea? No, it's not real. Believe? What you said? Phallus is simple. Okay? See, the very primitive kind of worship in the universe, okay, is the phallus and yoni worship. Phallus is the sexual organ of the male, and yoni is the sexual organ of the female. Okay? So, in kind of the Oriental at least some worship started. And what could be the possible reason of the worship? The possible reason of the worship in this particular phase is that whenever there are so many natural phenomena like the thunder, rain, wind, storm, so many natural phenomena are there, earthquake, these kind of things were there. And when these people were not able to understand these all kind of things, so they must have thought that there must be some authority who is doing that. So they started worship. Out of fear, the worship started. But the first evidence of that worship is the fact that they worship. Yeah? So here you can write primitive type of worship. Primitive worship. Then, so अब ये theme और analysis लिखने के बाद you write one word, you write one sentence, you write that these all things not only represent the socio-cultural life of that time, but also improving aesthetic sense. Improving aesthetic, A-S-T-H-E-I-T-I-C, aesthetic sense, improving aesthetic sense of Mesolithic people. And what is aesthetic? Means that once you look at the painting, it looks very beautiful. Okay? So slowly they were creating some good kind of designs. You can appreciate that. So that was there. So this is all about the Mesolithic painting. There was one question. In 2015, the very first question was related to the Mesolithic painting, and very much that was the most difficult question of that paper. Yeah? So at that point of time, people actually they were just believe that question, not working that question. It was difficult, but later on you will see that actually it was not that difficult the way people perceived it. So we will discuss that question when we will be reading the paintings, because that question was in comparison with the modern painting. The Mesolithic painting and modern painting. So that we know once we are there in the painting section. So if I am going to miss, it's your responsibility that you kind of then caution me that sir, आपने बोला था आप इस question को discuss करोगे, I discuss that. Okay? And all the questions which have been asked in the UPSC paper from 2013 onwards in art and culture, we will discuss over here. Art and culture and whatever that is related to the ancient activity, that is also we are going to discuss over here. And prelims question also, wherever it will be required, I will be discussing with you, and I will also share the strategies to kind of handle those questions where you have no idea. Right? So slowly we see that what all things we are going to do. So this is all about that, these two phases, Paleolithic and the Mesolithic. Now come to the last phase, and that is the Neolithic phase. Neolithic phase. And later, 6000 BC to 3000 BC. 6000 BC to 3000 BC. And so, first of all, that we need to know the tool. Tool के बारे में बात करेंगे, then other development. So, Neolithic tools, they're basically the tools which were there in this period, particularly Mesolithic period, the microliths. Right? So, boom and there over there, then some plates and points were also there. In this period, they didn't change the shape of the tool. What they did instead is that they started polishing the tool. So once you are polishing the tool will be very effective. For example, if you have a knife in your home and after 1 or 2 years, it's becoming very kind of that it's very straight up and it's not very useful. And once you kind of again sharpen it, so polish it, it will become again effective. So basically, polishing the tools made it more effective. So they started polishing the tool. That was the major development in the tools in the area. So you're right. And in this period, which increase its effectiveness. And that's the one such thing. But there are some other development that we need to see, and they are very important. So basically, the first phase, Paleolithic, was a phase of the subsistence. Second phase, cultural life started. But this is the phase where formally the socio-cultural life and community sense would be consolidated. So how it is going to get consolidated? First of all, there was one very major important development in this period, and that is the start of agricultural activity. Okay? So for the first time, agricultural activity happened in the Neolithic period. And the place where the first agricultural evidence is there in the Indian subcontinent, that is the Mehergarh. And Mehergarh is there in the Balochistan. And Balochistan, Pakistan. The part which Pakistan shares with the Iran. So you write that the first evidence of agriculture is found from this period from Mehergarh in Balochistan province of Pakistan. Mehergarh in Balochistan province of Pakistan. This is there. But then ये तो है चलो, this is the thing which is related to the Indian subcontinent. If I ask you that first evidence of agriculture in the world, which is the place which is known for the first evidence of agriculture? Okay. China is great kind of that. India के बाहर आता है. Any idea? No, not Egypt. Mesopotamia. So, particularly there is a place in the Mesopotamian civilization, and that place is one of the very important countries. And that country was known as the cradle of many civilizations. The name of the country is Syria. So, Syria is the place where the first agricultural activity happened. And in India, it was Mehergarh. In Indian subcontinent, it was Mehergarh. Okay? So, if you want to write, you can write in the slides or in the titles that the first evidence of agriculture in the world, the first evidence of agriculture activity and agricultural activity in the world, the first evidence of agricultural activity in the world happened in Syria. How present is Syria? Actually, Syria was one very important country. Slowly you realize that there were many battles in the past well fought for the Syria, because it was very fertile and it was so many minerals were there at the bottom line. And the climate was also good. So Syria was a very important country. And right now the situation which is there in the Syria, it is very unfortunate that must not be there. That whatever good places are there in the world, people are destroying it. So that's very unfortunate. So this is the first place in Indian subcontinent where the agricultural activity was done. The next development. Now, first we'll listen and then we'll write. So what were the other developments? So community sense was consolidated, and now people started, since the agricultural activity started, so now people started to live in the communities and at one place. Earlier, they were moving from one place to another, but from here onwards, they have a permanent habitation. That's the one development. Another development is that people also started to create, first they created the wheel, and then after the wheel, they created the wheel-made pottery. So wheel and wheel-made pottery. And the next development was that for the first time, humans learned the art of controlling fire. I'm not saying they invented fire. Invention of fire was done in time immemorial, that somehow humans got to know, or they realized that when the two stones are kind of that they are getting that harm. So the fire would be created. So they got that. But controlling fire means that if this is water, and if I want that this must be on 100 degrees Celsius so that I can drink it. Yeah? So I must know that when to remove it from the fire. That is the controlling fire. And it must be exactly at the 100 or 90 degrees Celsius. Yeah? Then, if they are creating a pottery, they are baking their pottery on the fire. So they must know that at what temperature which we remove the pottery so that it must not get cracked. Yeah? So this is how they're controlling the fire. So they mastered the art of controlling fire. And this is going to actually change the history. Because fire is the one such thing which will kind of create a abuse for so many other things. So slowly we see that what they are going to create. So you write these all things. So first you write that the community sense got consolidated. The community sense got consolidated in this period. And people started to live. At one place permanently. Then, second, next point, right? They created wheels, and also wheel-made pottery. They also became aware of one metal. I'm not saying that they started using it full-fledged manner, but at least they became aware of one metal which could be useful. So what was that metal? Iron, copper. Okay? So you write that Neolithic people also became aware of copper. Neolithic people also became aware of copper and its uses. The next point is right. They mastered the controlled use of fire. So this is about that Neolithic period. Paleolithic, this one is going to compare it. And then, so now we move to the Indus Valley civilization. But before moving to Indus Valley civilization, we need to establish a connection between the Neolithic period and the Indus Valley civilization. So I create the chart if you want to kind of that make in your notes so you can make it. So the basic thing, if I ask you that the basic thing which actually gave rise to that was the base of the Indus Valley civilization. So what you will say? Agriculture. How many for the agriculture? Raise your hands. Many people. Okay? So actually it was agriculture. Agriculture was the one thing. And that's how it would be there, that connection. We need to make the connection from the Neolithic period. So now you listen slowly. Then here first of all, Neolithic communities. Okay? Neolithic community. Then they started agriculture. Their agricultural practice. And then the third one is the most important, which I say that from these agricultural practices, there was surplus of agriculture. This is the most important, which gave rise to the civilization. Surplus of agriculture. This is the base. Not just agriculture, but exactly the surplus of agriculture. Now listen, what is the surplus of agriculture? The Neolithic communities started to produce the agricultural things, agricultural commodities. So there may be, if you kind of that suppose that if there is a one person and his annual requirement of wheat is the surplus will happen. Okay? So this surplus agricultural surplus, it will go into the trade. Okay? It will go into the trade. And then slowly with this trade, so they must have said that there is this place, they must have communicated to the people that there is this place in this area where we will be trading. So the trade center will develop. Trade center will develop. Now, listen. So trade center is one place, and then agricultural fields are at the other place. So they are transporting this agricultural commodities to the trade center. So for transporting, they must have required some good kind of leveled road over there. Okay? So transportation. Okay? So now roads would be created. Roads would be created to the trade center. Okay? It will facilitate the transportation. And roads are getting created. Then after some point of time, there are some people who are carrying those agricultural commodities to the trade center. And they will realize that rather than going daily to daily basis, why not do it in 1 week and then store the commodities, agricultural commodities, close to the trade center. So they will slowly, the warehouses, there are storehouses would be built. So storehouses would be created. Then, so close to the trade center, this is happening. So first they created the roads, now they are creating the storehouses. Then when they have created the storehouses, so they must have ready in their mind that if somebody needs to be stationed at the storehouses, because they need to guard the commodities, so they will create some houses. Then after the houses, so if you are living for even for 4 or 5 days, you need some other things also. That you need milk also, you need food also. So slowly other people will also come there and other communities will also slowly develop. So other daily life amenities. Then other daily life amenities. Then other daily life amenities. Now the families living over there. Slowly the families will move to that area, families will live over there, and slowly it will develop into the urban center. So this trade center combined with these all features, slowly it will develop into the urban center. Urban center. And when an urban center developed, so in the urban center, a large number of people are there at one urban center. Okay? So governmentally, it is very easy to control the people, even if there is no authority. But in urban center, if there are a large number of people are living at one place, and there are so many activities, so there must be one machinery or some machinery, administrative machinery, to control the people, to regulate their affairs. So when this urban center is fused with administrative machinery, fused with administrative machinery, now it will turn into a civilization. And in case of India, that civilization is the Indus Valley civilization. So slowly it will turn into the Indus Valley civilization. You got that? Then what about how a kind of surplus of agriculture is kind of basic for all these development. So that's how the Indus Valley civilization appeared by 2600 BC in the case of India. So now you write major heading Indus Valley civilization. See, I wanted to ask you one thing regarding that few things which are there in the Indus Valley civilization here, and then few things are there in the agriculture. So, what I'm asking you, that If you want कि इसमें न करें, उसको सिर्फ आर्ट एंड कल्चर में करें, इसमें leave them and do it in the art and culture. But if you say that इधर नहीं उसको complete कर लेते हैं, so I'll complete it over here. So what's your take on that? You want it over here or there? Complete here only. Okay. So this I thought that would be more better because separate हो जाने पे क्या होता है कि कभी-कभी mains देते हैं लोग क्या करते हैं कि they only read art and culture and they leave their ancient material. ठीक है. So एक जगह पे रहेगा तो at least we'll go back to the ancient material. So you will read here. So we'll do that here only. But there in art and culture, I start with the architecture of India. That ancient and the medieval and the modern also. So वहाँ पे हम start ही करते हैं Indus Valley civilization से. ठीक है. So I make the reference of that, but I am not kind of elaborating to there. Elaboration would be here. ठीक है. So Indus Valley civilization. So Indus Valley civilization. So few basic facts about the Indus Valley civilization. And one such basic fact is that the area, the place where Indus Valley civilization developed, and what are the important sites of the Indus Valley civilization, and the defining boundaries of the Indus Valley civilization. This year there was one question from the sites of the Indus Valley civilization. And I always emphasize on that you must go through the sites. People were saying, in one class somebody said, sir, पिछले 5-6 साल से देख रहा हूँ पेपर में नहीं आया है, ठीक है? मैंने बोला इस बार आ गया तो, so exactly, and it was one of the easiest questions if you go through the sites of the Indus Valley civilization. So first we'll do the sites of the Indus Valley civilization. So you write heading. Indus Valley civilization, major heading, and what all other names are there of Indus Valley civilization? कुछ और नाम से भी बुलाते हैं. सिंधु घाटी तो हिंदी में बोलोगे. इंडस वैली का मतलब ही सिंधु घाटी हो गया, ठीक है? हड़प्पन सिविलाइजेशन, ठीक है? एंड ऑल्सो ब्रॉन्ज सिविलाइजेशन, ठीक है? सो तीनों नाम लिख लो. दैट इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन इज ऑल्सो नोन एज हड़प्पन सिविलाइजेशन और ब्रॉन्ज सिविलाइजेशन. Area of this civilization I'm writing. That area of this civilization is 12,99,600 square kilometers. Okay. Then after the area, the next thing is that the boundary. So boundary of civilization, boundary of IBC. So for that I will have to create a coordinate. So this will be the west direction, west, east, north, south. So boundary means that the northernmost side, southernmost side, easternmost side, and the westernmost side. Yeah. So the northernmost side of the Indus Valley civilization is Malta, and Malta is in J&K, Jammu and Kashmir. Northernmost side is the Malta. It is there in the Jammu and Kashmir. Then easternmost side is the Alamgir Pul. Alamgir Pul. And if you want to know the area of the today's Alamgir Pul, is actually the Meerut of the UP. Okay? So today's Meerut was at that point of time, it was Alamgir Pul. Then in the south, Daimabad in Maharashtra. Alamgir Pul would be there in the UP, present UP, and Daimabad is in Maharashtra. Then, and the westernmost side means that on the side of the Pakistan. Okay? So actually, the westernmost side is closer to the Iran, Pakistan and Iran border. And the name of this side is the Sukta Jangor. Sukta Jangor. So this is the westernmost side. This is the easternmost Alamgir Pul, and then southernmost Daimabad, northernmost is the Malta. And Sukta Jangor, you can write that this is there in the Balochistan of Pakistan. So these are the boundaries of the Indus Valley civilization. Okay? So if you kind of that, if you see these boundaries and you create a line, okay, a triangle. Shape of a triangle. Then now I write this all the sides. And so meanwhile you create so you create the map of India. And map of India, not all, let me create it. That first of all, not all the areas you need to create. Jammu and Kashmir you create, okay? And this area, and you need to create Pakistan also. Without that, it will be incomplete. So this much part, हमारे use का ये part है यहाँ तक, ठीक है? This much would be our use. So eastern part choose सकते हैं. So now slowly one by one we write all those sites which are there. So can you tell me that which was the first site discovered? Harappa. Okay. So Harappa was the first site which was discovered, and Harappa was in the Montgomery district of the Pakistani Punjab. Okay. So it was there in the Montgomery district of the Pakistani Punjab, and that was here. So this line is the same in this river. And so first write Harappa. Harappa. It was the first site. I write that I did that part also. किसने discover किया था? First you write all the sites and then we write those people who discovered it. Then after that Harappa, the second site which was discovered was the Mohenjo-daro. Mohenjo-daro, this was in the Punjab province of Pakistan. Mohenjo-daro was in the Sindh. First I'll complete that in Sindh many other sites were there. Okay? So these sites included Koti, Chandaro, okay? And then Balon, which was very famous and which was recently in the news, Balakot. Okay? So Balakot is over here, not here. Okay? The spike Balon either Balakot either in this video. So Kot DG, Chandaro, you write Kot DG. Chandaro. This one is Amri. Then here was Balakut. Then here to side here, so the Jandor. Here you write, so the Jandor. So the Jandor. Then after this one, in the middle you write here, in between Balakot and Sutta Jandor, there was one more board which was known as Sutta Ko. K-O-H. Then, what is the original name of the, do you have any idea, that Karachi port? Which was also happened to be one of the very important port of this Indus Valley. If our government would have been there, it was Aladdin. So this was another port of the Indus Valley. It's a port we cover, right? You can identify that it was Sutta Jandor. Sutta Jandor was not a port. Anyway, Sutta Ko we can start. This is a port. Balakot is a port. Aladdin is a port. But So these are all of the port. And एक जो बहुत famous port जो सब लोग जानते हो, which is there in the Indian part, Lothal, ठीक है? So that would be there, but उसके पहले बहुत सारे हैं. So here you write, first you write here. Now we will come to the Indian part. The Indian part we can decide, ठीक है? So Indian part over here you write Dholavira. Dholavira, ठीक है? And then this area is known as Run of Kutch. जहाँ पे ये Dholavira है, that is the Run of Kutch in the Gujarat. And in Run of Kutch, there was one more site over here, and the name of the site is the Desalpur. This was there, this year paper. Desalpur, Desalpur, Desalpur. In Gujarat itself, so many sites were there. So one that you said that in the Gulf of Cambay or the Kutch, okay, that is the Lothal. Then here, Rangapur. And then this place, Prabhas Patan. Prabhas Patan. P-R-A-P-H-A-S and then P-A-T-A-N. Prabhas Patan. Then over here, in this part, Run of Kutch area only the upper part of the Gujarat, there was one more site which was known as Sro. I'm writing here Surkathoda. ये भी सवाल में है. This was there in the 2017. Okay? So I'll tell you the question later. That क्या question thoughts are related. So these all sites, Gujarat का part हो गया. Then now come to the this area, the Rajasthan part. So two important sites were there. One was Banamahi and Kalibangan. Okay? So this one you write Banamahi. And this one you write Kalibangan. Daimabad you can write over here in the Maharashtra part. Daimabad. Banamahi and Kalibangan in Rajasthan part. Then now we'll move to the upper part of the country. So Manda was here, close to Srinagar. Then in Punjab of the India, the site of the Ropar. In Indian Punjab, the site of Ropar, R-O-P-A-R, was there. Then, I want to ask you a question. That, do you know that which is the largest site of the Indus Valley civilization? Which one? Yes, Mohenjo-daro was the largest site. It is not the largest site. Yes, exactly. In 2013, there was one Indian archaeologist. His name was Dr. Sindhe. So he made excavation in Rakhigarhi, which is there in Haryana, and then it was realized that it is the largest site of the Indus Valley civilization, which is there in the present day Haryana. So you are in Rakhigarhi. And the last site was that Alamgirpur. In UP. So these all are the few sites. If you grab these sites, I don't feel that ever you will be kind of like marking around the answer in the paper. Okay? And the best method is that you go through the paragraphs and then use multiple colors. I do have this kind of belief that when you are using multiple colors, there is a color memory, picturesque memory, which is also implanted in your head. And that's how you kind of then come with the exact colors. So I use, if you are not comfortable with using so many colors, so you can do that, but this is how it is there. So this is all about that, these important states of the Indus Valley civilization. But let's talk about that, how we came to know about the Indus Valley civilization, some stories which are there. So any idea that how we came to know about the Indus Valley civilization and what was Exactly. Okay. So railway tracks were there. So listen, the 1870s came out. Okay. 1870s came out. There was one excavation. Okay. One excavation which was going in the North Mumbai district of the this Pakistani culture. Right? The reason was that in 1850s, you must have read in the modern Indian history, that 1850s when the first railway lines were let down, Mumbai to Thane. Right? Then the British government felt that now is the time that we need to connect the important port of the Karachi with the Lahore. So for that, the railway lines were let down. At that point of time, Alexander Cunningham was the head of the Archaeological Survey of India. You just listen to the story, you don't need to write it. So Alexander Cunningham was the head of the Archaeological Survey of India. So when this excavation was going on, so something unusual was found over there in the Montgomery district. This was reported to Alexander Cunningham, and they said that we are kind of suspecting that remnant of some civilization over there. So if you give us permission, so we will go for the full-fledged excavation. But Alexander Cunningham, what he thought that this is not the kind of right time to go for the excavation, because the British government itself was that kind of finding it difficult to within India, because so many revolts were there, and still people were kind of that they were coming to one place, and these all things were going on. There was crunch of the funds also. So keeping these all things, the political activity and the crunch of fund, he decided that he will not go for the excavation. This was done and dusted. Finally, in 1920, one new person, his name was James Marshall. He became the head of the Archaeological Survey of India. And he decided that we are going for the excavation. Okay? No matter whatever funds would be required, British government will provide that, and we are going for the excavation. So then excavation started. And excavation, he entrusted the task of excavation to the two people. These two people was that one was the Dayaram Sahni and another was the Radha Das Banerjee. So Dayaram Sahni excavated the site of Harappa. The second site which was excavated was the Mohenjo-daro by R.D. Banerjee. So when these two, 1921 Harappa was discovered and 1922 this Mohenjo-daro was discovered by Radha Das Banerjee. When these two sites were discovered, so at that point of time, everyone was surprised, and the British government, the government which said to the Indians that India is a white man's burden, is the same government which said that the most advanced civilization of the world is there in Indian subcontinent, and that is the Indus Valley civilization. So this was the same government. This was the moment of the victory for the Indians. They were celebrating this victory, and they were actually proud of this thing that the Indus Valley civilization is considered as the most advanced civilization of the world. But when you look at the structures which were there in the Indus Valley civilization, we'll be talking about that, but let me give you some brief introduction about that. So when you see the structures of the Indus Valley civilization, they were not very big. They were not monumental structures. Monumental means big buildings were not there. They were not monumental structures, but they were very well-planned structures. Very well-planned structures. And so many other things were there, like the drainage, the hygiene. So these all factors were there, but no monumental structure was there. On the other hand, there was one more civilization. The name of the civilization is the Egyptian civilization. Egyptian civilization was considered as was known for its monumental structures. And what were those monumental structures? Pyramids. And if you look at the shape of the pyramids are so amazing that what kind of mathematical knowledge has been employed into that. But despite Egyptian civilization having the monumental structures, Indus Valley civilization was given the acronym of the most advanced civilization of the world. So, do you know that why Egypt was not given? What is the main reason behind that? What is that? Colonies, one by one. So, structure of road, drainage, and then urban planning, good. And then they calculated road construction. Okay? So those who said that related to urban planning and roads and drainage, these all are correct actually. These were the factors factors because of which Indus Valley civilization was kind of given the acronym of the most advanced. But let me tell you the most important factor. Most important factor is that yes, use of bond bricks. For the first time in this world, bond bricks were used. And that's how you see the benefit of the fire. I said to you that fire is going to change the history. Okay? So, for the first time in the world, bond bricks were used. This is very important development in the human history. So, bond bricks were used. And so, you can ask them, what about the pyramids? Who gets it again? Okay? So, any idea that what are the pyramids? What is it? No stone. No, pyramids are not built of stones. Pyramids were built of the unbaked, or you can say sun-dried, unbaked or sun-dried bricks. Despite it being monumental, pyramids kind of are very susceptible to the kind of climatic phenomena. If torrential rain happens in Egypt, though the area of the Egypt doesn't suggest that torrential rain will happen, but somehow, if torrential rain happens in Egypt, no pyramids would be there in Egypt. They will all be kind of soil erosion of the pyramid would happen there. So, this was the one point which was there in the mind of the Buddhists that they gave this according to the Indus Valley civilization. That all the houses and all the buildings they were made of the bond brick. And then later on, they also kind of took into the consideration the urban planning and then roads, everything. The roads and drainage, this will be part of the urban planning. And that's how they said that this is the most advanced civilization. Okay? So, elaborately, we will be talking about that. But if you want to mention, you just mention that this use of bond brick and then the Egyptians. So, if you want to mention a dictation, you want? Or you have written? Very correct. Okay? So, Nico, that you write about the J.H. Marshall also. Just like that, I said, कि आजकल ये पूछ रहा है कि इस व्यक्ति ने कौन सा काम किया. Okay? So, you write that in 1920, Archaeological Survey of India. In 1920, Archaeological Survey of India had. In 1920, Archaeological Survey of India had J.H. Marshall. J.H. Marshall decided to go for excavation in Western Punjab and Sindh province. Then further right, the task of excavation was interested with the task of excavation was interested. E-N, not I-N. Interested. Spelling, see, you need to take care of the spelling also because this is how the meaning changes. So, interested with, task of excavation was interested with two Indian archaeologists, Dayaram Sahani and R.D. Banerjee. Dayaram Sahani and R.D. Banerjee. Can you write? In 1921, Harappa was excavated by Dayaram Sahani. And in 1922, Mohenjo-daro was excavated by R.D. Banerjee. this moment, the British government in India, declared that Indus Valley civilization is the most advanced civilization of the world. Most advanced civilization of the world. Then, earlier, due to the monumental structures like pyramids, Egyptian civilization was considered as most advanced. When you write, first of you write, but Indus Valley civilization, despite not having any monumental building, was given the acronym of most advanced civilization, ACRONYM, of most advanced civilization, due to the first use of bond brick in the world. And also, it's very advanced urban planning. Full stop. And in brackets, you write the last thing about the pyramids. So you write pyramids were made up of unbound or sun-dried bricks. So this is all about that initial introduction. So tomorrow we will start with the first we look at the urban structures which are there, the structures which were there in the Indus Valley civilization. Then we'll see the polity, society, economy. These are all factors. And then first we'll see the planning. So today I'm stopping here. So we have the first. So tomorrow and day after tomorrow. So and if you want to know how many classes would be there, so 7 to 8 classes would be there in the ancient and medieval, and then here about 11 classes would be there in the art and culture. So 18 classes, at least 18 classes.